Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Sports Plug. If you are a first time watcher, please make sure you like and share this broadcast so we can get more people joining the broadcast. And also, of course, if you are, again, watching this on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe to the Sports Plug YouTube page. And we also have another way that you can watch the show is through Periscope, through Twitter. You can go to my Twitter page at xwilliams81 and check out this stream on Twitter as well. Today I have a very special guest from Kinfolk and them. My boy Ishmael gonna help me out with our NFL Week 2 recap.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And of course, to start off Week 2, unfortunately, we do have to start off with the Week 2 injuries. And it doesn't matter who you are, maybe except for the Chiefs and maybe the Titans fans. Seems like somebody got bit by the injury bug, no matter who you are. And we'll start off with some of the most notable names. If you can look on the bottom of your screen: Saquon Barkley, Nick Bosa, Jimmy G, Drew Lock, Christian McCaffrey, Solomon Thomas, Raheem Mostert, Anthony Barr, Devontae Adams, Malik Hooker, Sterling Shepard, Cam Akers, and also Byron Jones. Now, also, too, let me add on to that because that's not the complete list. George Kittle, Cortland Sutton, Paris Campbell, Draymond Jones, and also Marquise Blair. Now, again, with all these injuries happening in week 2, it weren't just ACL tears with a guy like Saquon Barkley or Nick Bosa. There were different injuries across the board. A shoulder injury with Drew Lock. Achilles, ribs injury. Malik Hooker with an Achilles injury. That's his second season-ending injury. Last year he had a torn ACL. It's devastating, honestly, to see these guys having to have these soft tissue type of injuries happen so early in the season. But it does give guys like a Saquon Barkley, I don't know if you see on his Instagram, does give him an opportunity to go Mamba mode and put his mind into the focus of rehab and getting better for next year, because let's be honest, that Giants season or that Giants team, they didn't have any chance with him, and now that he's not playing, they don't have a chance without him now.
No, none whatsoever. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. It wasn't like they were competing for anything anyway, so it gives him opportunity. He gonna, heal. You hate to see him get hurt, but it gives him opportunity to go rehab, get better, get stronger, and hopefully they are able to get some experience under some of these pieces. David Jones gets a little more experience and everything, and when he come back next year, maybe they do something in the NFC East. I don't know.
No, I definitely agree, and also with all of these injuries as well, I really hope that a lot of these guys' contracts were either guaranteed or if they are free agents coming up next year, I hope it doesn't affect their free agency money, because we all know a lot of these guys are playing for that second contract or either that third contract. And for you to go down with a season-ending injury, again, like we said from the beginning, is very devastating.
Never good whatsoever. I mean, I'm interested to see how some of these teams react to these injuries. I mean, like you said to begin, a lot of big names here. So there are a lot of guys here that were starters that their team has to figure out what they're going to do. And I know everybody likes to say next man up. That's the kind of mentality you're supposed to have in the league or whatever. But it's one thing to say next man up and to actually be the next man up. So I definitely want to see some of these guys, what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know what they're planning on doing in Denver. I'm hearing Blake Bortles.
Yes, Blake Bortles have gotten signed by the Denver Broncos, so that is the new quarterback, new sheriff in town.
I mean,
hey, you know how that goes in the NFL.
Blake Bortles, I don't know how I feel about that one. That's going to be interesting. 2 defensive linemen from San Francisco, and that was really one of their strengths last year.
Yes.
So, I mean, wow. Let's see what happens there. I don't know who steps in.
Like you said, speaking of San Francisco, if George Kittle, I mean, if you are a San Francisco fan, you might as well just get ready for next season. That's what it pretty much seems like because the season is already seems like it might be over before it gets started in San Francisco. And also as well, we have Sire who is watching, who will actually be on Ken Folk and them around 9:30 tonight. Or it'll be our show after this. He said it's no preseason the reason why we are having these type of injuries. Now this might be true, but like me and Ish were talking before the show started, we think it's more of the actual training camp and lack thereof, the actual physicality of hitting amongst each other on a day-to-day basis, getting ready for the season. Because again, we know Ish, we play high school, college, a little bit in the pros. You have to build up to the season. You can't just go and be on vacation, go and do a couple of workouts and automatically think, all right, I'm ready to hit somebody and go out and play. That's how you get hurt.
Yeah,
And I feel like with the lack of training camp and the very of course the no preseason, which might have had a little effect as well, plague a lot of guys when it comes to these injuries. Do you think that as well?
I mean, yeah, I agree. I agree that to me, I feel like the training camp portion is the most. That's the biggest impact there. The lack of training camp, the lack of like rookie mini camps and stuff like that. Like that sort of action really gets you back into the football shape, back into the movements and things like that. Not so much the preseason game, because really, when you got to think about it, only the people who are trying to make the team play most of the snaps in the first 3 weeks. You only see starters play kind of a significant in the third week, and in the fourth week they may play like one or two. So it's not preseason for me. It's training camp. Like training camp is where you really get that work in. You get back into the flow and stuff. And to not have that, there is something to be said about going through the motions and being it, even if it is just like half speed shells. There's something about doing that as opposed to just coming up in off the street and just jumping right in it. And practice only does so much for you, right? Training camp is still somewhat full speed. You do tackling in training camp, you do shells in training camp. Practice, especially at this level in the NFL, they're not going to be doing full contact practice a ton. So it is going to result in some injuries, but I don't want to say that all the injuries are a result of that. I think some of them, it's just going to happen. Like it's
It's
football,
football.
it's
Yeah.
a sport. It is what it is, man. Like some of that's just a freak accident. You fall wrong, somebody hits you, your knee buckles the wrong way. It is what it is, man.
No, I definitely agree. And another thing to look into the next 3 to 5 years is to see how these guys long term this will affect them. Some of these guys first time having significant injuries to be out to be sidelined for a whole year. So it's gonna be very interesting to see them move forward because the year that I remember so many ACL injuries happening is from my recall is the 2008 season when it happened to Tom Brady week 1 when he tore his ACL, and it seemed like everybody in the league was tearing their ACL around that season. And fast forward to where we are now in 2020, I was just reading an article before we got on the show, and it's funny they said that looking at it now, it seems like Tom Brady has gotten better since his ACL, tear, which is kind of ironic, but it is kind of true. Where it's like, how did this guy get even better after an injury that has messed up so many people's careers to where that they couldn't even play anymore? But a guy like Tom Brady, or we can talk about a guy like DeJuan Blair that played basketball for the San Antonio Spurs that has no ACLs that were able to run up and down the court. So, the human body just a very weird, unique, beautiful thing to where, superhuman athletes are able to defy certain, human natures just because of the way that they're able to push their body compared to
Yeah.
people that live an everyday basis,
You know,
regular life.
it's funny you say that about the ACLs and everything because one guy that completely obliterated his knee, the pressure is going to be on him. That is my man Teddy Bridgewater. With Christian McCaffrey going down, you were already struggling when you had one of the best all-purpose backs in the backfield. Now, what are y'all gonna do? That man is, yeah, he's a couple years removed from that injury, but still, That's a lot of pressure on Teddy Bridgewater. I'm going to be looking at Carolina to see how they bounce back because I believe they're 0-2 as well.
Yeah,
So
they are.
pressure is on down there in Carolina to figure that out.
One thing I will shout out to Carolina as an organization, they definitely wanted to make sure that they were competitive this year, and they were. They got some pieces. They wanted to make sure that they were able to compete in the NFC South. But let's be real, going into the season, they were on the outside looking in with Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and also even Lord, I can't get even with the Matt Ryan and the Falcons. It seemed like they were on the outside looking in, and now with McCaffrey being out for at least 4 to 6 weeks, it seems like they're pretty much shot. But Teddy Bridgewater, like you said, at one point in time, he was supposed to be the guy in Minnesota. After his injury, it's kind of had to take a couple steps back. Now he's back in the starting role. I hope nothing but success, nothing but the best for him. But we have to wait and see. And let's stop talking about negative things and let's get to a little bit of the positive. And I wasn't trying to get into a Thursday night football game, but unfortunately, that's where the Bengals and Browns led us to with the Battle of Ohio, the Bengals versus the Browns. Not going to lie, coming into this game, I thought Joey Burrow was going to shock the world. That's why I went ahead and picked him to go ahead and beat the Browns on a Thursday night football game. Yes, because I looked at week one. Hey, it looked at week one. He was playing pretty well. I thought, again, I didn't know which Brown team was going to show up. That was my problem. I didn't know what Brown team was going to show up. I didn't know if we were going to see the mopey week one Browns or we were going to actually see the Browns we saw on Thursday night football. Now, the question is for the Browns, are we going to see this more moving forward? It's cute to do it on Thursday night football against your little brother in the division. That's fine. But can you do this against the Steelers? Can you do this against the Ravens? Can you do this against other AFC teams that actually coming for y'all heads because of Baker Mayfield with his 6,000 commercials and Odell Beckham making one-handed catches? That's the real question.
I'll say this about the Browns, though. One of the things that I like about the Browns is the two-headed monster they got in that backfield with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Let's just talk about how crafty it was that the Browns were able to pick up Kareem Hunt after all the stuff that went on with Kareem Hunt. People may be forgetting this man, before he got released by the Chiefs the season before, led the league in rushing yards. Like, this is not some slouch back they picked up. They picked up a dude that was actually legit. And so to have Nick Chubb, who is doing all the things that he's doing, wonderful, over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, then to add 86 yards and a touchdown from Kareem Hunt, that is, if they can do that more often, they'll win more games because it takes the pressure off of Baker Mayfield. I think the problem is they put too much pressure on Baker Mayfield. They want him to go out and win games too often. They don't need to do that. They need him to be more like a game manager. I know you got Odell, you got Jarvis Landry. Let's not focus on that. Let's run the ball because that's what you seem to be good at. And then we'll get those guys in here and there and create that opportunity for them.
No, I definitely agree. You use your running game as your bread and butter. You pound the ball. You do what you need to do in Cleveland. I mean, as the Browns organization, that's what you guys are famous for, having really good running backs in the first place. So use your running backs to your advantage. It seems like they kind of found something with Baker, being able to roll him out more because apparently that's where he was his best at in college back in OU, where he was able to scramble to the roll out to the left or even roll out to the right and throw the ball on the move. And he was throwing the ball really well. Now, if you're able to create those opportunities for him again against teams like this, like the Steelers, like the Ravens, we will have to wait and see. But with the Browns they're a week by week basis type of team. We don't know what team is going to show up. We have to wait and see what happens with the Browns because they can be the $1 million Browns or they could be the dollar Browns. Yeah, we're going to see real soon. All right. Let's stop talking about Ohio. Let's get to the Bears versus Giants. I don't know about you, but I picked the Bears to win this game. And, of course, I was correct on that one. The Giants, unfortunately, like we talked about just a couple minutes before with all the injuries, Saquon Barkley, unfortunately, got hurt in that game. And I was watching that game, and it seemed like once he got hurt, it seemed like the air in the balloon for all the Giants fans, the team organization, the everybody that wanted the Giants to be even competitive remotely. The air came out of the balloon. The season is over pretty much for the Giants.
Yeah, I mean,
Y'all have fun picking in the top three.
he makes that team go. So like as soon as he got hurt, I mean, what did you expect from him? That's the man that makes the team go. Now they signed. I'm hearing it's confirmed they have signed Devonta Freeman. So he was doing really well in Atlanta. Kind of took a step backwards. If he can regain that, maybe you get a little bit of something. Do you compete in the NFC East? I do not think so. But it may be a morale boost a little bit or something.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, Devonta Freeman, he got his money from Atlanta. He got his one commercial from I think what BF Goodyear or whatnot. He was able to get his little commercial from his prime time commercial and whatnot. So he's taken care of. But let's be real, like we said with the Giants, you're not competing in that division. Alrighty, then let's go ahead and get on to the next topic: Cowboys versus Falcons. I don't know about you, Ishmael, but the Cowboys get on my nerves. The Cowboys get on my nerves because I picked them to win. And during this game, I told myself, why? Why did I do this? I'm an idiot. I did this last week. I picked them to win against the Rams, and they disappointed me. And they're going to do the exact same thing against the Falcons. And what did they do? They come through. They come through. How?
Dude, they only came through because it was the Falcons. I mean, let's just can we first? I don't even want to talk about the Cowboys. Nobody care about the Cowboys, but let's talk about the Falcons. I think it's more of the Falcons lost that game than the Cowboys won that game. I'm just gonna be honest, dude. You had them where you wanted them going into halftime, and then to do what you did. I mean, how embarrassing. You did it in the Super Bowl with the Patriots. Now you come and you play in Dallas and you do it again. At some point, you just got to look at yourself as an organization and say, man, we must be cursed because that is terrible. To do that with the Cowboys, the Cowboys, oh my gosh.
I mean, like you said, with the whole curse 28-3 here in Houston, Texas, Super Bowl, If you've seen the memes, of course, on social media with the Falcons players standing around the ball and the offside kick. Now, look, you've been on special teams, hands teams before. I've been on special teams, hands teams before. If you've ever been on that hands team, you know the rule. If it goes past 10, that's when it's time for you to touch the ball, make a move on it. Do what you got to do. But before that, as the hands team, we're not supposed to touch it unless certain circumstances. That's why, of course. Cowboys are hanging back a little bit. But Atlanta Falcons, players, not talking to the fam, talk to the players. I don't know who's coaching y'all special teams wise, but you guys did the wrong thing.
Answers.
I don't know. I don't know. Like I really don't know.
That was horrendous. I mean, just standing around. Some of them even went. They were ahead of the 10-yard line, standing there by Cowboys players, watching as the ball crossed the 10-yard mark. Like, dude, that was terrible. I don't know who is coaching y'all, but y'all all should have been immediate. Like, you shouldn't have even been allowed on the team playing. Yeah. Y'all should have walked home, got an Uber or something.
And let me retrace back what I said. I apologize. I kind of misconstrued that. My bad. I meant Falcons players should have jumped on the ball because you were allowed to jump on the ball being on the hands team. The Cowboys had to wait for the Falcons to, of course, touch it before it went past 10 yards. But Falcon players were just standing around, which, again, what I think what was going on with the Falcons players, I think they had a brain fart. And I think the way that they saw the ball spinning around, they thought that it wasn't going to get past 10 yards. So if we don't touch it, we won't have to worry about the ball going past 10 yards and the game ends right there. Nope. Now, another thing that you can also do as well is you could have at least kicked the ball out of bounds.
Something.
You could at least kick the ball out of bounds. You get possession, you get a penalty, but you at least get possession.
Something.
It's shout out to the Falcon fans. I mean, you guys are hanging in there. I thought Brown fans had it miserable, but maybe one day, maybe at least I've been to the Super Bowl. I can say I've been to the Super Bowl, right?
Well, I mean, I think they may have a chance still yet in the NFC South.
They do, but that's a hard one, man. I think Dan Quinn that got his seat even hotter to get up out of there, and we'll
I
see how that
actually
goes.
think he need to get out. I think they need to move on from Matt Ryan. It's that time. He played
I
well, but
think
I think we need to move on.
Dan Quinn go first before Matt Ryan. If Dan Quinn go first and Matt Ryan still play the way if he's not playing the way that they need him to play, as in play the elite quarterback, make us win us games that we need we need you to win for us to get us out of games that we should not have won. Then I think the Falcons will have to move on from Matt Ryan.
Okay.
All right. All right. Next game, Lions versus Packers. Another disappointing franchise. The Detroit Lions. Looks like they had the game at first. At first, they were up on the Packers. And then, of course, Aaron Rodgers does what he does best. And smack it that ass.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, Packers just own the Lions. Let's just be honest. All you Detroit fans out there, I don't know how you do it because it's got to get old. Everybody was talking all that mess about Matt Stafford, how wonderful he was playing before he got injured. And for them to start 0-2, I'm just wondering when the seat starts to get hot for my boy up there in Detroit.
Mr. Patricia.
Y'all were talking about how y'all wanted to take the next step. Well, I didn't realize the next step was for y'all to not make the playoffs repeatedly. So
now, if you do check out my Facebook, I actually did make a post about Mr. Patricia. I did say that, hey, the Detroit Lions as an organization did say to themselves, after firing Jim Caldwell, who had led them twice to the playoffs in 3 years, that they wanted to move into a next step, as in consecutive playoffs, and also maybe even contend for a Super Bowl, which the Lions do not do. But that's what they wanted to do, and they went and got a guy that has no head coaching resume. And that is a disciple of the Bill Belichick tree, which is understandable. A lot of teams want to go get a guy. Tennessee Titans, hello, Mike Vrabel, disciple of a Bill Belichick, coach. What I'm just saying.
I would argue he was doing really good things as a defense coordinator with the Texans. So
I agree with you, but apparently Texan fans felt like that wasn't true. But that's another topic for another day. I'm just getting at with the Belichick tree and with Patricia. For a guy that, again, has no head coaching experience, in the appearance of head coach before he got the job, before he cleaned up, he looked like a woolly mammoth. For him to get that head coaching job, I was just like, hey, okay, if this is what Detroit wants, we have to wait and see later on, and time will tell. Well, time has told that apparently he is 9-23-1 record-wise, no playoff experience. No playoff appearances, and your record percentage-wise is 28% winning-wise. So, again, if that is what you want, Lions, hey, do what you got to do. So we're going to move forward. We're going to move past this sad franchise. Move to another sad franchise, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Shout out to them. A Tennessee Titans foe. Titans went ahead and took care of the kitty business in Nashville, and it was a back and forth game. We're not about to make fun of. Yeah, we're not about to throw away the Jaguars like they were just like we came in there and just mollywopped them and whatnot. The Jaguars are going to be a team that are going to be surprised. They're going to surprise teams the rest of the year. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they have a 8-8 winning record, because the AFC South is still, with the Texans and the Colts, are still kind of so I wouldn't be surprised if they win a couple of games they're not supposed to outside of the division, and they're going to be very competitive. I saw week one, their defense was very competitive. Minshew played a really good game week one. I just wanted to see if they were going to be able to redo that game from week one and pretty much have that same type of game that he did in week one and week two, which looks like he did. Now the question is can he do that for the rest of the season? It's hard to do it 2 weeks. Can he do it for 17 weeks?
I think he did. He showed last year that he could do it, and I think he has started this year off on the right foot. I think he's solid. To me, he's a solid NFL quarterback. I think from what he's shown so far, he's a solid starter. He's one of those guys that he can start for teams and do it enough to help you win games. Now, is he going to light you up? I don't know that he's going to light you up, but he's going to do enough to help you win games. Shout out to James Robinson. I got you in my fantasy league, dude. Keep doing what you're doing, but unfortunately, y'all didn't win the game. The Oilers came through. I'm not gonna lie,
You're not gonna keep calling my Titans the Oilers. You're not gonna do that.
your
Not on
Oilers.
my show, Ish.
I'm not gonna lie, your Oilers came through. They did what they had to do. Ryan Tannehill, y'all gonna have to start putting some respect on that man's name, I think, because um, the man he's producing, and as long as they got Derrick Henry also on that offense, they are a scary team. I'm sorry to say they haven't won the AFC South for a little while now, but it doesn't matter because they get in the playoffs, and when it's playoff time, nobody wants to see Derrick Henry. So if they get in the playoffs again, which is looking, I'm gonna go ahead and say they're gonna make the playoffs. I even think, unfortunately, that the Oilers will win the AFC South because I have no faith in Phillip Rivers. The Texans, until they get rid of Bill O'Brien, who knows what's going to happen with them? They are a hit or miss. And the Jaguars, I think Gardner Minshew could get them a wild card spot potentially, depending on how they continue to develop. But the Oilers, I think they're going to win the AFC South. I think they're going to Tannehill going to lead them there. And when it gets playoff time, it is going to be a scary situation because nobody wants to see that man.
Well, you heard it here first on Sports Plug from my boy Ishmael. Week 2, get those AFC South T-shirts ready because I'm about to get one, and I haven't had one in a while since I was back in high school, 2008. It seemed like I think it was the last time we won the division, and best believe when we win the division, I will be getting me a divisional shirt. And speaking of teams that will be also playing on Thursday Night Football next week, the Jaguars and the Dolphins, the mustache versus the beard, who will be going up against each other on Thursday Night Football. The Bills versus Dolphins on Sunday. I don't know about you. I chose the Bills to win that game. I don't know if you actually watched that game or just saw a couple of highlights. I just watched a couple of highlights. Wasn't able to watch the whole game. But Josh Allen, I said this last year, and I'm going to continue to say, when I saw it in the playoff game against the Texans, I said to myself, hey, man, this guy's going to be really solid. Except for that silly little pass backwards he tried to do at the end of the game. That wasn't smart, but everything else he did in Houston was really good as a first-year quarterback to lead your team to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
What he's doing now is even more impressive because it seems like he just keeps getting better and better as a passer and also even as a runner. For you to big body Van Noy like that, hey, that's a grown man, Van Noy. I've seen Van Noy in person. Hey, that's a grown man. And for Josh Allen just to ragdoll him, hey,
he's definitely growing in confidence. That's something that I will say. He is not one of those guys that is lacking confidence. He's grown in confidence. They have definitely given him the reins there in Buffalo and are allowing him to do what he needs to do with that offense. And let's be honest, before they got Stephon Diggs, last year they were still doing it with John Brown, Cole Beasley. Now you add Stephon Diggs. I mean, they are not like, without Stephon Diggs, they're not a big name receiving core, but they're a solid receiving core. They're actually making plays out there and doing what they need to do. Then they got my boy Singletary, who is running strong. That team is. I don't. Let me ask you this, X. Who you got in that division? New England or Buffalo?
Before the season started, I actually had the Bills winning that division, and this was before Cam made an appearance. Made news as in made news as being the number one quarterback for the Patriots. I felt like this was the Bills' time to be able to take that next step forward in the AFC East and make everybody understand and realize that, hey, the Bills are for real and they are not just, even like the Titans, we always get there, but we can't finish. With the Bills, in the 90s, they go to 4 Super Bowls back to back to back to back and can't win one. I mean, that is heartbreaking. So with the Bills, I think Josh Allen fits perfectly in Buffalo. I think he is their generation, Jim Kelly. You don't have to be that great in Buffalo, but you have to embody everything that Buffalo brings, as in that organization and the fan base, the Bills Mafia. I think of course, they love Josh Allen, and it's a perfect fit, like you said, with Diggs. That was what they needed. They needed an actual receiver, and for Diggs to get out of Minnesota and finally be the guy again, like he was supposed to be in Minnesota, which was still mind blowing to me that people still think Adam Thielen is better than Diggs. We can have that conversation for another day, but I think Diggs has always been the better receiver, and as we see, he's continuing to show that. And speaking, you want to finish something off before we get to the next time?
I was just gonna say, before the season, I would agree with you. I was picking the Bills to win that division. Since Cam has come and played his first 2 games, I'm gonna step back a little bit and say I want to wait and see how the Bills play against the Patriots, because last year they lost both games against New England. Granted, that's with Tom Brady, but still, Cam has done everything so far to lead you to believe that the Patriots aren't really taking a step back. So if they can get past the boogeyman that is the Patriots for them, I think that they will win the division. If they can't, well, then I definitely think Cam and the Patriots going to win that one.
Well, the Patriots had a lot better defense last year, so I think this year should be their opportunity to be able to upend them. But we'll wait and see, because, like you said, it's the boogeyman. Anytime New England comes into any away team, they feel like, oh man, here go the Patriots, that mystique. Or anytime a away team comes into Foxborough, even though there's no fans there, it's still the Patriot mystique. It is what it is. Yep. Speaking of Diggs, again, his old team, the Vikings versus the Colts. I got this one wrong. I really thought the Vikings were going to Kirk Cousins. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the leap. Minnesota. I hate that. Minnesota paid you all this money. I need you to step up. I need you to be this guy. And right now, you're not this guy. And hey, it is what it is. Minnesota. It looks like they better be careful, because again, the NFC is stacked, and they will miss the playoffs, or be right there on the edge, be right there on that last spot, and be out in the first round.
I don't see them making the playoffs.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, the NFC is stacked to where you have 6 teams right now that can easily, maybe contend for the Super Bowl. And the Vikings, I don't see them getting better over the next 3 or 4 weeks.
I don't see them making playoffs. You got Aaron Rodgers. We talked about him earlier and how he just went ahead and spanked his stepchildren in Detroit.
Yeah.
I think Minnesota, he's going to continue to spank them. And I just don't see it right now in that division. You also got Chicago, who's 2-0. Everybody was talking all that stuff about Mitchell Trubisky before the season. So far, he's doing enough to get them 2-0. So 0-2 Vikings, 0-2 Lions, 2-0 Bears, and Packers. I mean, you're gonna have to do something drastic now. Like you need to start producing now. Kirk Cousins, I've never really had faith in him. I feel like there was all that hype about him in Washington. He stepped in after RG3. I think that, we can have an argument about that and how that whole situation played out. I don't think he deserved the money that he got from Minnesota. I think he was more so a situational kind of player in Washington and just kind of lucked up with Jay Gruden in that situation. Now he goes to Minnesota, and I think he's been proven to be just that, average. He is average. He's an Alex Smith, maybe not even.
I was gonna say he's not even Alex Smith. Don't put him up there, Alex Smith. I'll take Alex Smith over Kirk Cousins any day.
Yep, I agree.
That's just me. All right, let's move on. And also, shout out to the Colts. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Shout out to the Colts. Good win for another AFC South opponent. No. I hate them. But again, good win for them. They did what they did. Old man Rivers did what he do. 49ers versus Jets. Hey, I don't know if you've seen that meme, but they said that the Jets are so bad. You lost to a team that lost a starting quarterback, starting running back, starting center, starting defense, defensive end, defensive tackle, safety, kicker. I think they lost all their fans. They lost the organization. They lost the whole San Francisco Bay. They lost everything, and the New York Jets still lost the game. Yeah. So
okay. So can I ask you a question?
What's up?
Is it time to move on from Sam Darnold?
Well, that's before we get to Sam Darnold. That's just like the team that's going on right across, or the same team that shared stadium with them, with the New York Giants. For me, it's not about the quarterback with the Jets. It's the head coach. Why are you
He needs to
Why
go.
are you getting Adam Gates when he didn't do anything in Miami?
He needs to go.
What do you?
From the very beginning when he had that issue? Okay, let's just talk about this, right? I get you have an issue with how much they paid Le'Veon Bell. The
Oh
way
yeah.
you're utilizing Le'Veon Bell is horrible. Is horrible. And it's clear that y'all are not getting along. You don't like him. You don't want him there. Because look at the number of touches they gave Frank Gore now that Le'Veon Bell's not there. And look at how many touches they were giving Le'Veon Bell in week one and before that last season. Dude, there's something going on there. I think he needs to get out of there. He is a cancer to that team right now because he's not doing anything to make them better. Sam Darnold has not done anything since he's got there. They need to go get somebody, which maybe we'll talk about that a little bit earlier, maybe a little bit later. Mm-hmm. But they need to go get a young mind, I think an offensive mind that's going to help Sam Darnold, or else just move on from him because Sam Darnold is struggling.
Yeah, no, I agree with Sam Darnold. I'll be honest with you. He'll be out of New York a lot sooner, I hope, before his career is already over. I think he'll get another opportunity elsewhere because I think he's decent. I don't think he's that good, but I think he's decent enough to get another shot somewhere else because we haven't unfortunately been able to see Sam Darnold really develop just yet. So let's wait and see with Sam Darnold. I don't really have that much faith in him, but let's wait and see because second acts are real. Second acts are real. You know, just because a guy is playing okay in one spot or even bad, they go somewhere else and all of a sudden that revitalizes their whole career. So let's wait and see.
Not for Josh Rosen.
Hey, trust me, I've been thinking about him, but he can't even stay at one. He can't even stay at one spot before he gets cut and moved to another location. Hey, but when you come into the draft saying that, hey, you know, teams are gonna feel bad about passing on me, right now they don't feel too bad. So.
Not at all.
We'll see. Rams and Eagles. I got a lot of flack from Eagle fans, and I hope you guys are watching out there, Eagle fans, because you guys are 0-2. Hey, I picked the Rams to win, not because the Eagles are a bad team, but because I saw a lot from the Rams on week one beating the Cowboys because I felt like, again, that was a really good matchup for both teams. I saw a lot about both teams. And I felt like the Rams are going to, and let's be real. Let's think about this. This is a West Coast team, an LA team going across to Philadelphia to go and play, losing 3 hours of sleep and coming into Philadelphia and beating the Eagles. It just seems like with the Eagles more than anything, they are going to have to start figuring out what are they going to do moving forward. Are they going to get rid of Doug Peterson? Are they going to move forward with Carson Wentz? I honestly feel like after this year, the Eagles are going to blow this team up. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Because look, honestly, I think they're seeing their window is closing real quick. Because if you look at the Cowboys, I really feel like they don't I don't think that they can contend in the NFC with all these teams, and then also in their division again just with the Cowboys. I'm not worried about the Washington football team and also with the Giants, but with the Cowboys by themselves, I don't think they're going to win the division. So you have to of course contend for a wild card spot, which I don't think they're going to be able to get this year.
Really, you don't think? I mean, here's my thing: Carson Wentz. If you look at the receiving core, who does he have right now? He got Deshaun Jackson, J.J. Arcega, Whiteside, Greg Ward. Can you give me some more people?
There's one more. I can't. What's it called? Jalen Rager.
Which they just drafted.
They just drafted. Yeah.
So, I mean, when you look at that, there is an argument that you could make, just like you could make for Sam Darnold as well. Not to be
we're not comparing Carson Wentz to Sam Darnold. We're not doing that because Carson Wentz is supposed to be the guy. They paid Carson Wentz all this money to lead the Eagles to the playoffs and not do shit. They paid Carson Wentz all this money because they felt like, oh, he can lead us to the Super Bowl. He go to the play. He look. Last year, went to the playoffs. What happened? Jadeveon Clowney come and knock him upside the head. Now, am I saying that's a messed up play? Look, it's a messed up play. It happens. It is what it is. But what I'm saying is, it's too many excuses for Carson Wentz. I'm tired of it.
Let me finish.
Finish.
Okay. You can say the same thing. You can make the same argument for Sam Darnold. The weapons just don't seem to. I mean, just as far as like receiving core right now, you got an old Deshaun Jackson, which he's still doing his thing. No disrespect, but that's just not the receiving core that you really are looking to. That you're gonna say gonna make a big impact in the NFL today. I'm sorry to say it. I'm not making an excuse for Carson Wentz. I actually think that this should be a put up or shut up year, and then
It is.
you look at Jalen Hurts and you give him an opportunity and see.
Not yet. Not yet. We got another year left for Hurts.
I'm talking about like late in the season when you ain't got nothing.
If the season is over with and you got, I got you.
Let's get him out there. Let's see what he could do.
I respect that
decision. I think the same thing is going to be said about Tua in Miami with Fitzpatrick. I'm waiting to see how long they're gonna let Fitzpatrick do his thing before they go ahead and put Tua in as well. I think some of these rookies that are behind these guys on these teams that are 0-2 right now, it could be a situation where we might see some change up here in the next couple of weeks.
No, I definitely agree. And shout out to Fitzpatrick for being able to pretty much be okay with losing. What I mean by that is he's been on teams where they're just like, hey, go out and just go do what you do. You know, if we lose, we lose. If we win, hey, that's awesome. And we expected to lose, but go out there and go do what you do, Fitzmagic. I mean, it's crazy how some of these guys are out here able to rake in some money for being able to just be in competition with other teams. But that's another topic for another day. Broncos versus Steelers. This was a very good game. If you were watching this game, the Broncos put up a very, very good fight for, again, if you heard earlier in the show, Drew Lock exited that game with a shoulder injury. For being able to be in that game with a guy also like Von Miller, still haven't played this year because of course, out for the year with a messed up ankle injury and whatnot. The Steelers defense is real. The Steelers as a team, team as a whole, they are real. I think this was one of those games where, hey, it was one of those NFL type of games. It was rough. It was gritty. Steelers came out with the win. But the Steelers, hey, they are real. I think the Broncos, with unfortunately Drew Lock getting hurt, it hurt them moving forward with progressing in the AFC. I think it's going to unfortunately make them take a step back, especially with, of course, signing Blake Bortles to come in and play quarterback for them. If Blake Bortles can come in there and just not mess up the game, which I honestly doubt that he will do, then maybe the Broncos still have an opportunity. But the Broncos season is kind of probably already over before it started too. Maybe. We'll see. All right, Panthers and Buccaneers. Looks like Tom Brady finally got his first win of his Buccaneer career against Teddy Bridgewater in the Panthers. I don't know if you also saw the mic'd up version of Robbie Anderson when he was questioning Sir Purr. Again, if you guys are watching, go ahead and check out that clip. If you're listening on Anchor on our podcast, go ahead and check out that clip. Apparently, if you don't know the Panthers mascot, his name is Sir Purr. I don't know why his name is Sir Purr, but apparently out in Charlotte, that's what they call him. That's what he is. Apparently, Robbie thought he was a lion or a bear. I'm sorry, he thought he was a bear, but of course, it's not a bear. It's a panther. Obviously, Robbie, you play for the Panthers, but I thought that was a funny little clip. Buccaneers, we just gotta wait and see some more from them. Hey, that's a team that you're supposed to beat. You're at home, division game. You're supposed to beat them. They did. We'll see what happens. Leonard Fournette looked good. Mike Evans, got him a tug and whatnot. So, again, we'll wait and see next week with the Buccaneers. This is the matchup that I really want to get into. Washington versus the Cardinals. Again, since I was talking about social media, if you did not see Kyler Murray do his little stutter step on one of the Washington defenders, go and check out the Cardinals social media page. It was on Instagram, and he hit him with that. Hit him with that little hezzy that you usually probably see in basketball. But he pulled out the basketball move for football, hit him with the little tippity toe tap, and then he went ahead and sped into the end zone for a nice little touchdown. And I saw that. I had to retweet that on my Twitter page.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, bro, this is ridiculous.
It looked good. Let me just say this. I always give Kingsbury a hard time.
And I am too, but he's shutting me up.
I don't feel like he deserved the opportunity that he got, but I did say, and I want everybody to know, I said when they had the chance to get Kyler Murray, that was the perfect opportunity for Kyler Murray and for Cliff Kingsbury to run the kind of offense that he wanted to run. And let me just say this: they are doing their thing. That is a team that everybody needs to be scared of because Kyler Murray is dialed in. And with DeAndre Hopkins on that team now, that is
Woo!
a receiving core that everybody should be scared of. Everybody needs to be scared going into games because you got Kyler Murray out there dropping dimes, and then when he does break the pocket, it is hard to stop this man.
He's a little runt running around. You trying to tackle this little man, and he just squirting away from you.
It is crazy, dude. It is crazy, and it is fun to watch. They are, I would say, they are like the Ravens for me. Just a fun team to watch. Like you want to see their offense play because you don't know what's going to happen, and there's so many ways they're going to get you. I just think that I am excited about Arizona. I gave Cliff a hard time. Cliff, I told you need to step it up. I wanted to see something. Hey, I'm gonna be quiet and leave you alone now. All right, you got
For
it.
now. For now.
For now.
It's a long season. So we'll wait to see. We'll check back in week 12. We'll see what happens. But I will say this: after 2 weeks, man, the Cardinals are very impressive so far, and that defense as well. We're talking about the offense, but let's also talk about the defense. They paid Budda Baker a lot of money. He has definitely worked the contract so far, leading safeties and tackles. And also, let's not forget about Isaiah Simmons, the pick that they got from Clemson, who is a all-around defensive player. So, they add another guy on defensive line, a really good pass rusher. Hey, the Cardinals, man, like I said, that NFC is stacked, and that the Cardinals are going to surprise some people.
Garoppolo getting hurt and all those.
Yeah. It's the Seahawks. It's the Seahawks and the Cardinals now.
Cardinals now.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Super Bowl defending champ Chiefs versus Chargers. That was just the epitome, a game of the Patrick Mahomes doing what he do best. Being down again. I was looking. I wasn't able to get a chance to actually watch the game live, but I was looking on the little sidebar and seeing, okay, they're down, but when is Patrick Mahomes going to do what he does best? Bring him back, and he did. He was able to have a nice little. I know you saw the pass, nice little 55-yard pass to Tyreek Hill off the foot and ching, and for Tyreek Hill to catch the ball, flip into the end zone. I don't know if you again, the people that watch, if y'all know if you guys saw it, but please go check out that play. We got some amazing plays around the NFL. Amazing players, amazing plays week 2. Again, the injuries were unfortunate, but the plays that happened in week 2 were outstanding, and Patrick Mahomes delivered, of course, another one.
Almost doesn't count for Charger fans. It doesn't count.
They only counted horseshoes and hand grenades, baby.
Chiefs still won 2-0. I still stand by everything I said last week. Chiefs are scary. Edwards-Helaire still looks good. That is not a team that if I'm anybody, I don't want to play the Chiefs because Patrick Mahomes, he is making magic happen somehow, some way. He finds a way to win, and yeah, that team.
So what you're saying is he's future. Voila, magic. Voila, magic. I had to go throwback on y'all. Y'all don't know about that throwback future. Y'all know about that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to another team, like you said, is very scary. The Ravens versus Texans. Now, I did something very stupid.
Yeah.
I picked the Texans to win. Now,
You're a fool.
I am, but at the end of the day, it's a win-win for me. Because if Texans win, I get the pick. I got it right. Pat on the back for me. If Texans lose, hey, you guys lost. Down in the division. Titans number 1 in the division. But on a really serious note, serious note, Texans look surprisingly decent with Watson being able to let me explain. With Watson being able to do what he do with no weapons at all. He has no offensive line. He's going to run for his life. But to still put up the type of numbers he's able to put up just goes to show you how good of a quarterback Deshaun Watson is. Other than that, the Texans as a team, unfortunately, it's over before the season starts.
It's bad. Dude, Bill O'Brien, the fact that he has been able to rob this team of assets is a crime. He is a terrible GM. He's a mediocre coach at best. It is time for him to go. I don't know what dirt he has on the McNair
McNair
family.
family, yeah.
I don't know what kind
He
of
got
dirt.
some though. He got some.
But man, he must have something for them to have given him this opportunity and allow him to do what he has done to this organization. Deshaun Watson, I am sorry for you. I know you signed a contract because you wanted some security, but Lord, I wish you had not, and you demanded the trade because you do not deserve what is happening to you. The receiving core, I'm not convinced. You had Will Fuller the week one. He
He's
looked
already hurt.
good. Now week two, he wasn't even getting targeted. Like
And
my,
he's already hurt, hamstring.
I mean, dude, it is unreal at what they have done to that team. A team that made it to the playoffs.
And don't forget, and also my bad to cut you off. Don't forget guaranteeing $16 million to Randall Cobb, who I was told from Texan fans apparently before the season started they thought Randall Cobb was going to be that guy. Which I told them the only time that he is that guy is when you have Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball, and he is not when
Randall
he's
Cobb
not
has
with
been
Green Bay
that guy for years.
for years exactly.
Years.
So
And the fact that they gave him the money that they gave him.
yeah.
And then you look at like Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks is a great receiver, but Brandon Cooks is not an out and out number one. He just doesn't have he needs another guy around him. Will Fuller is not that out and out number one. You had that with DeAndre Hopkins and you let him go for peanuts. So Bill O'Brien, at the end of the season, you will get what you deserve after the Texans do not make the playoffs. That is right. You hear it. You heard it here. I'm saying they will not make the playoffs. After they don't make the playoffs, Bill O'Brien will be gone. There is no excuse. They will have to do it.
Now on the Sports Plug Facebook page, there is a meme or an article, whatever you want to call it, whatnot, where it shows 4 teams that still have an opportunity to maybe make the playoffs, and they asked, the Texans and again a couple other teams, what team that you think will be able to still make the playoffs starting 0-2. And again, you had a couple guys that felt like, hey, the Texans still had an opportunity because of either the division, because of either the conference they're in.
Only because of the division. Only because of the division.
But let's be real, it's not about the division. It's now if the Titans can win the division, it's can you even get a wild card spot? But we have an extra wild card spot this year, so we'll see. But in the AFC, the Raiders are playing well. You got a lot of teams that are playing a lot better than what they were last year, so we got to wait and see. Another Super Bowl rematch, Patriots versus Seahawks. This is a funny game because towards the end of the game, we were right back in the situation on the 1-yard line, but this time it was the Patriots that had the ball, not the Seahawks. So what do you do? Do you pass the ball or do you run the ball? Ish, what do you do?
Unfortunately, I would say, nah, I wouldn't have done it. As much as I want to say I would have done it, that Bill Belichick did the right thing, I don't think I would have done it because to me it was only too obvious at what you're gonna do. And I know a lot of people will say, well, you're good at it. You've done it before. He does it all the time. Stick with it. Nah, bruh. I would not have done it. I think everybody in their mama knew what was coming. Cam Newton trying to get it in there, and you saw what happened. They were ready for it. They came in. Seahawks defense, I mean, shout out to you because that play was an amazing play. I don't know who it was, what his name was, but oh boy, on the end who came in and submarine the lead back, he made the play happen. He came in, took out the lead back, and it was going nowhere after that. So
yes. I don't know his name right off the top of my head, but like you said, the lead back that blew up, the linebacker that blew up that play in the beginning, that play they actually ran the quarter prior to score a touchdown on, which is, I think, the reason why they went back to the play, because if you go and look at the play prior to, they had that play very blocked very well, and they had what they wanted with Cam running the ball. So what I think the Patriots saw was, look, man, we're on the 1-yard line. We got this big body. We got Superman. This is what we should go ahead and do when it comes to run left. We're gonna mano and have Cam, either jump over. I was waiting for him to jump over and try to, extend out and score the game-winning touchdown. But I love that it looked like Pete Carroll knew what was coming. He said, "Go blow that S up," and that's what happened. And the Seahawks got out there with a great win. And to finish up week 2, Saints versus Raiders. This is the Raiders' first, not just first game, but I'm sorry, not just first Monday Night Football game in Vegas at their new stadium, but also, of course, their first game in general in the Death Star. They will call it now. I don't know about you, but that stadium is beautiful.
Oh yeah, I want to go there.
I will be there
We
soon,
want to
and
make a trip.
when we get there, we will make sure that we have a live broadcast from Vegas. Make
Yes, we
sure again
will.
you tune in to the Sports Plug. We will be there live. I don't know when exactly. We'll make sure after this pandemic stuff is taken care of, but we will be there broadcasting. It's gonna be a great time. Ish, what are some tidbits we can take out of this game? Are the Saints regressing? Is the clock ticking on Drew Brees? Are the Raiders for real? Can the Raiders sustain this? What is just John Gruden finally found something in Derek Carr that they finally push him in the corner and say, "Hey, perform or get the hell up out of here." What's the biggest topic of this game?
I mean, I think the biggest topic of this game is really, are the Raiders for real? Are the Raiders? That's going to be the question that I think people are going to have for the next couple of weeks. Are the Raiders for real? Because do you have faith in Derek Carr? I don't know. We've seen him do it kind of before. He's put up big numbers before. But is he going to be able to sustain that and win the games when they matter? They still got to play the Chiefs twice. Are you going to be able to win those games? You still now with the Broncos and Drew Lock getting hurt, you looking a little bit better. The Chargers didn't play poorly against the Chiefs.
The Chargers still a good team. I'm still looking to see if they're going to be able to make that next step. We still got to wait and see with them. But the Chargers have a really good defense. They might have a little quarterback problem going on right now, but I'm still have a little faith in the Chargers.
So yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of questions that the Raiders have to answer. But I will say it's a great start for them, 2-0. You couldn't ask for anything better. And Derek Carr, you've been doing enough. I think John Gruden. One thing that can be said is John Gruden wanted to instill a certain culture in that team, and I definitely think he has succeeded. He and Mike Mayock have done what they set out to do when they first joined the Raiders organization. They wanted that kind of culture, that bad guy culture, that us against the world kind of mentality.
Yep.
Definitely have found that. So I think that will help them moving forward. They just need to keep performing. Now the Saints, everybody knew the Saints are bad away from home. They've always been bad away from home. So it's not that much of a shock that they lose this game away from home. The question is, though, you're putting everything in this season. You want it's Super Bowl or bust, really, what it is. And to lose to the Raiders on the road, I just kind of feel like for a team with that kind of expectation, this is a big disappointment. It's early in the season still, but at the end of the day, you got to be disappointed by this.
No, you're correct, but also this is one of those games that can help the Saints, move forward as in come together as a team. And we've seen teams lose a game they're not supposed to in the regular season and they win the Super Bowl. And everybody look like, oh, technically you didn't, the team, the worst team that beat y'all technically are the best team because they beat y'all and you won Super Bowl, that type of thing. But I wouldn't hold too much weight on this loss if again we get into week 12 and the Saints are 9-3, 8-4, and everything looks a little bit differently than what they are now. But for me, the bigger question is, can Drew Brees? It's not about pushing it downfield. Is can you actually be able to be okay with not being able to do certain things that you're used to doing? Because as an athlete, that hurts you emotionally and mentally, accepting that you can't do things that you used to do anymore. So during this season, we really might have to see with Drew Brees if he's literally falling off the cliff, like I know Max Kellerman keep talking about with Tom Brady. If we're literally seeing him fall off the cliff from week 4 to week 8, Well, they might have to turn to Jameis Winston and say
I was just about to say, I think Jameis might end up getting it. Let me
that's
just say this. Next week, they got Green Bay at home. So that's going to be in the Superdome. But it's Green Bay coming, Aaron Rodgers coming off a
like
big
they
game.
they hot right now. The defense is playing real well. Hey, and
Definitely.
again too, ain't the New Orleans Superdome is not the New Orleans Superdome right now because there's no fans. Even though you have the fake sounds, it's still not the same. It doesn't replicate the fans that are in New Orleans making all that noise. So I honestly think in the same way that Aaron Rodgers had Week 1 against the Vikings playing in Minnesota, I think he's gonna have a field day.
I agree, and it's the Sunday night game. I think it's a big game. Both teams gonna come in there hype, but I definitely think right now I'm giving that to Green Bay. They follow that up going to Detroit. Um, with Matthew Stafford, I don't know, but again, it's away from the Superdome. So, are they going to show up and play the way that the Saints need to play, or are they not going to show up? That's the question mark. Then you follow that up with the Chargers, and you're playing at home, but I mean that's a Monday night game. The Chargers are coming in there. We don't know if it's going to be Tyrod Taylor or what's his name, my man from Oregon. I'm blanking on his name, but we don't know if the rookie's going to be Justin Herbert
Just Herbert, yeah.
starting. But that to me is not a walk in the park either. So these next three games to me are going to really show, are you guys the contenders that everybody thought you were? I still think they are, but I need them to show a little bit more. And also with Michael Thomas out, who is going to step up and make those plays?
Emmanuel Sanders is not that guy right now. He's older. He's not. I mean, he's just not that guy. I know they have another receiver. I can't think off the top of my head, but he wasn't even playing that well. So I agree with you. Don't. Their main guy is Jared Cook. Period. The main guy is Jared Cook, and luckily for Drew Brees, he's a basketball tight end. To where, let's be honest, I think Jared Cook is a better tight end for Drew Brees than Jimmy Graham was.
I agree. I agree.
But that'll wrap it up for week 2. I appreciate you for joining us on Sports Plug Week 2 NFL wrap up. We'll see you next week, week 3 recap. And also, we'll see you in about 30 minutes when it comes to Ken Folk and them, and Ish will join us there. Thank you guys for checking out the show. We will see you guys next